The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Fairbanks, Alaska, job number 30154. Utilize this job number and reference it anytime you're requesting parts or information regarding your new apparatus with Pierce or Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started with the bumper of your front piece of equipment. On the bumper located are a left and right air horn. In the center is mounted an electronic siren. Slightly above that is the cluster which houses the low and high beam headlights. The cluster above the headlights offers an emergency light and a left and right turn signal arrow, in addition with a turn signal arrow on the front marker. Above that, and just below the windshield, is 3 windshield wipers across the front, overhead running lights above that, and the emergency light bar. On the lower left-hand side is an emergency front light, an air chuck inlet, and shore power connection. Moving inside the cab, on the bottom is the auto battery indicator, and on the left-hand door are the warning labels. Just above that, inside at knee level, is the master battery switch. Looking from above is the ignition switch. On the right-hand side is the parking brake. On the left-hand side is the pump switch, and on the right is the automatic shift pad. The air-actuated pump shift, pump engaged light, and the OK to pump indicator. Once again at knee level is the quarter turn master battery switch. To the right of that is the command zone plug and the engine trans ABS port. Below that there is a blank space, the ABS diagnostic, the DPF regen, engine diagnostic, and regen inhibit switch. Moving to the dash cluster, starting on the left-hand side is an emergency light master switch. To the right of that are your headlight switch, which is a rocker for running lights and headlights, and there is also a rocker switch for increasing and decreasing the brightness of your panel lights. Moving to the right is the high idle switch and the OK idle switch indicator. Moving to the left on the cluster is the transmission temperature, the DEF level, oil pressure, water temperature. Located in the center 2 gauges, the upper left is the tachometer, the upper right is the speedometer, and the voltage indicator. Moving to the right of that, fuel gauge, front air, and rear air indicator. Slightly to the right of that, there is a panel of switches, which houses the retarder on-off, retarder auto-apply, off-road traction. Front wheel lock, a locking dump master switch, and a open rear dump close switch. Once again at knee level, just below that, is the left and right main mirror switch for adjusting your mirror, and a lower section of the mirror, which is the convex for right and left and adjustment, in addition with the interaxle differential lock. Just over the driver's head is the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating label. And over the driver's head is an emergency master, high beam flash, air horn, opticom, a blank space for adding additional switches, and the mirror heat switch. Just to the right of that rocker set is the driver side scene, passenger side scene, and rear scene. These are all lights, in addition with a blank space and the activation of the tire chains and load manager. To the rear, there are two forward-facing seats, in addition with two SCBA holders. Mounted on the plaque is the Pierce manufactured by, which indicates the year that it was made and the job reference number or job number. Looking in the pump panel on the driver's side is the pump test information. There are two ports for the pump test ports, the command zone center, and located underneath the intake is the pump type. Looking in additional information on the pump panel, there is a pump light switch, and in this cluster there are other switches that will house heating. There is an audible alarm panel and the water level. Located on the pump panel is the Pierce information referencing the job number, the Watrous information referencing the pump type, and on the panel rocker switches there is a panel light, pump and gauge, front pump heat, and a rear pump heater. Looking above in the crosslay, there is an LED utility light, two crosslay sections, and a storage area. Looking on the driver's side is the DEF fill location. To the rear compartment and just adjacent to that is an emergency light, and below that are wheel chocks. Moving to the side of the apparatus, there is an emergency light at the upper top in the rear. There is also a scene light mounted in the center at the top, two SCBA compartments, and a fuel fill location. Looking at the rear of the apparatus, you have the cluster of brake, turn, and emergency lights on both left and right. At the very top, there is an emergency light indicated, and on the right-hand side, also an emergency light. There is the rear camera view and rear suction hose compartment on both left and right sides. In addition, on the right-hand side is the deck light switch and the dump valve switch. Looking at the top is the water tank fill, and on both left and right side are LED scene lights. This is the left-hand view of the passenger side rear compartment. On the passenger side, and also on the rear, are the rear tow hooks, emergency light, SCBA bottle storage, right scene light, and the exhaust tip. Moving to the passenger side midship are three folding steps, the cab lift switch, and pump access door. Looking from the passenger side in are the two forward-facing and two rear-facing seats, in addition with SCBA houds. Looking in the front passenger seat, there is the windshield wiper fill, and there is a 12-volt power plug. Congratulations on your new Pierce fire apparatus. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment.